Hello all, this is Courtney Dula. I am your junior warden, and in the absence of any large-scale construction projects like we've had in previous years, my report this year will be a short one. I'd like to start off talking about the projects that have been completed this year. First, we'll start with the Gannon House work. In May of 22, repair work was completed on the split system, and a collapse vent was repaired, as well as coolant added to the system by Rock Hill Mechanical Corporation. In October 22, Republic Roofing was hired to install some new flashings to the leaking chimney and replace some deteriorated sheathing. In September, the bathtub faucet failed, and it required a whole house water shut off until the repair was made by Kirkwood Plumbing, and they were able to do that repair within 24 hours of the report from our tenant. They were also able to address the leak under the sink that had been identified by Jacob Vogel. On to church building work. We had an exciting moment in the building in May of 22. A bird was discovered in the vesting sacristy. Reverend Luke Jernigan heard some chirping from behind the electrical box and saw some feathers sticking out. Tyler Schwartz was able to save this bird and eliminate any potential disaster to our wiring. Tyler and Brian Barnhart were able to agree with a combination of spray foam and some rigid foam board to close off the opening between our interior and exterior until a contractor could come out with a more permanent repair to this exterior hole. In June of 22, a clogged drain on the third floor in the third floor HVAC closet led to a backup of water onto the floor that began to leak down to the second floor. So many thanks to Mark Willingham for his quick action to help mop up and shop vac this water, as well as for bringing in 2 industrial fans to help dry this carpet upstairs. Thank you to our Director of Operations, Hannah Shanks, for her use of the drain stake to clear this clog. Mr. Reuter was contacted for the final clearance of the clog. Thank you to our wonderful sexton, Barbara Walls, for catching and cleaning up after a July 22 clog in the air conditioner drain in classroom B. Items were moved into the hallway until Mr. Reuter was able to clear the clog. A to Z Finishes was called to come take a look at the drywall in classroom B, but they were able to confirm that no drywall damage occurred as the leak did not reach the drywall. In October, while completing the Gannon House roofing project, Republic Roofing was also able to complete a small repair over leaking roof portions above Mitchell Hall and the third floor stairwell. On to some of the multi-year projects that we have seen completion for this year. On June 7th, 2022, with the dedication performed by Bishop Dion Johnson, our church saw the culmination of a collaboration between artist Kababi Bayak and famed stained glass company Emil Frey Associates Incorporated. That took a total of 5 years from concept to finish. So we look forward to the design and installation of the remaining windows. I do encourage all of our members to go listen to the June 13th, 2022 episode of St. Louis on the Air from our local NPR station, 90.7 FM. Which features interviews with our rector, the artist Kababi, and Aaron Frey of Emil Frey Studio. Or you could listen to the Theology on Tap event from December 6, 2022, with our rector, Senior Warden Rudy Nickens, and the artist Kababi about our beautiful and inspiring new window titled Rise Up. Lastly, I would like to congratulate our leadership on fully realizing our vision of a flexible worship space. We've discovered the joys of the playground at both the 8 o'clock and 10:30 services, as well as for our major events like the Christmas Eve pageant service. For worship services, we've learned that the 3/4 round configuration has performed better than the facing setup that was initially visualized on those pre-renovation architectural renderings. On to the upcoming projects that are going to be proposed or will be continued for this year. We still have some outstanding repairs planned for the roof, so we will be exploring how to best implement these repairs and seeking bids this year. In March of 22, we collected a bid for the repair of the retaining wall while considering application for the 2022 Church Assistant Endowment Fund grants, but we were unable to pull together our retaining materials by the April deadline. So this year we hope to finalize our options to address the retaining wall and to revisit that path for the partial funding of this project in 2023. If you've walked up Jackson Avenue towards the entrance of the church, you may have noticed that slight lean to the fence that separates the church from the Gannon House property. So this year we will decide on the fate of this fence to be repaired or to be removed. It has long been the desire of our leadership and our congregation to investigate our options for solar for Holy Communion, leading us towards this greener existence that we seek. Due to our challenging roofing configuration, though, which is 3 roofs meeting as one, implementation of solar will need to be well planned, and it could potentially be costly. We do seek to put together a committee to take up the mantle of exploring these options and costs. As part of the parish-wide discussion of focus projects for our renovation, making changes to our front elevation was one project that ended up falling lower on our list of priorities at that time. We would now like to revisit this project in earnest and collect and evaluate ideas that will better utilize this space for our church and for our neighbors. If these are projects which you would like to be involved in, please contact or speak with Susan Norris. Lastly, and certainly not least, a major thank you to Michael Salsich and Jacob Vogel for all of their advice and personal time and efforts at troubleshooting and fixing several of the problems that occurred with the heating and cooling at Gannon House during this past year. We sincerely appreciate your swift response and your expertise. That's all for me for this year, and I look forward to having a larger report for you next year.